Okay, good morning everyone. I see you're all looking at me, so I'm assuming you're all listening, correct? So how many of you have ever been in a conversation with someone, then you're explaining something to them, and then all of a sudden they just interrupt you and they start talking, and you're like, I wasn't done with what I was saying. I still want to say something, and they just keep on going and going. This quote that I have right here is by Ambrose Bierce is about that. It says, "A bore is a person who talks when you want him to listen." So I'm gonna explain to you guys when it's okay to be rude like that, or it doesn't seem like it should be, but it's okay to be rude like that to someone and talk, and when you shouldn't. So, an example of when you shouldn't do that is like, say you're at a job interview and someone's telling you explaining to you what the job is, and you just interrupt the person. You shouldn't really do that. Like when I was when I had a job interview probably like a month ago at a different catering place that I'm not right now. The person was talking to me, and he was he just kept on talking to me, and I kind of wanted to interrupt him, but I didn't. And then after the interview, he told me, "Oh, I'm glad you're a great listener, and that's something that I look for in my workers, because I like for my customers to be satisfied with their needs and stuff." So that would be an example for where you shouldn't talk. So let's say I did talk to him, and like I interrupted him. Then it's impolite and it's rude to do that. So that's one example when you wouldn't. An example when you would be like, let's say you're talking with friends, and then you guys are debating something, and that's where you could talk over them and stuff. So like, let's say you're talking about like sports and like that, like for an example, the Angels or the Dodgers, and your friends are saying how better the Angels are than the Dodgers, and they're like, oh, that's not true, the Dodgers are a lot better. Or it could be the opposite. Like, I've seen you were a Giants fan, so I could be talking about the Giants and how worse they are than the Dodgers are. You could be saying the opposite. So that would be an example of when I guess you could talk. Or another example of when you shouldn't do that is, like, say you're talking to like a loved one or something, and they just want someone to hear. Because a lot of times, like for example, for me, my girlfriend, she just keeps on talking and talking and talking. And she just wants me to listen. She doesn't expect me to talk back to her, So I'll just stay there and listen, and sometimes not even pay attention to what she's saying, and just listen, and then it makes you feel better, because that's I'm pretty sure a lot of you have had that example where you just want to let out what you have from your day, and just expect someone to listen. So listening is something good, but talking back when the time is right is something too, because you should all voice your opinion, because it's very important. Like, say you're in a group project, and there's someone that there's always that person that wants to lead the group project, and they think all their ideas are right, and sometimes they're not. I'm pretty sure every one of you has experienced that. And then if you don't voice your opinion, and then you turn in your project and it's like crappy, you get in trouble, and then you have a crappy project, and you're like, damn, I should have done something about it. That's a problem where a situation where you should voice your opinion and be able to say what you want. So there's times where you should voice your opinion, there's times where you shouldn't, and you're just going back to the quote. A bore is a person who talks when you want him to listen. Sometimes it's okay to listen, and sometimes it's okay to talk. Go ahead.
All right, Jesus, I like the question that you used to kind of start to get our attention, and you tied it in well to the quote that you're talking about. You do have a theme that you're discussing. I thought that was pretty good. The preview, it's basically, as I figured it out, it is sometimes you should, sometimes you shouldn't. Okay, that makes sense. And I realized that you had in fact given us a preview of the material, so that was pretty good. The examples are fine. You've got a good one that you start with the interview situation, and then you have a little bit of fun with the second one when you're talking about arguing with your friends or listening to your girlfriend. I think everybody kind of relates to those sorts of personal examples. Those are fine. You feel the content pretty well. I'll tell you what, most of the presentation, there are good things in the presentation, but there are a couple of things that need a little bit of work. Let me just talk about the good things. You look pretty confident where you're standing. Your gestures, you keep them contained, but there are some good indicators as you're speaking. Your facial expressions, you look like you're involved and not nervous at all. But your voice, there's something, I think it's a combination of the three things. I think you rush a little bit. I think you have a tendency to talk down a little bit, and you're not projecting very much. So it's coming, and I don't really think you're mumbling, but it sometimes sounds unclear. And I think part of it is that you're going a little quick. Part of it is that you need to get your head up a little bit more, and part of it is that you just need to distinguish those words a little bit more. Like I said, if I'm listening to you, it's fine, and I'm paying close attention to it. It's not that I couldn't understand anything you're saying, but it does sound a little bit awkward. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I get that a lot.
Okay, so it's just, I think you need to pace yourself a little bit. I think that might be the best solution. And then the other thing, I'm not one of these elocution people, so I don't know all of the stuff about articulation, but I think that probably the best thing to do is maybe put your head up a little bit too, because when you talk down like that, you have a tendency to close off your mouth and your throat, and so it just sounds a little bit different. If you put your chin up a little bit, I think it'll make a difference. Try that and see how it works. All right, thank you.